Good morning, Xbox. Yes, good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode number 19 of Good Morning Xbox. I'm your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboom. It's Newf Nukem in the room. Hope everyone is doing well. Like my fantastic panel, minus Eternal Shaddai, who cannot be with us today. So let's get right into the intros and get right into the topics. And let's start off with this handsome-looking chap over to my left here, and that would be Axel1324.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy everybody's here and ready to talk some games this morning.
We are ready to talk some games. Tokyo Game Show just dropped this past week, so a few things to talk about for sure. Let's get over to this fantastic and charismatic young lady we know as Coolcat Terri.
Sure. Charismatic. No, I'm kidding. All right. I'm doing fantastic, everybody. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you had a good weekend thus far. And yeah, we should have some good conversation.
We will. And the man who's turning that frown upside down is Cerebral Paul.
Right, yeah. That's just because it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile or something like that. I don't know. And I'm too tired to give a shit. I'm sorry.
Get those yawns out of the way right now.
Hey, I was up late playing Halo. You know, me and Scrub Nurse down there. You know, so you know, I went to bed late last night.
That sounds like a you problem. All right. Speaking of somebody
Good problem to have.
Definitely up and Adam playing some Halo last night is the one and only Scrub Nurse.
What's going on, everybody? I got my coffee. How you doing this morning? Let's talk games. Let's go.
Indeed. All right. Before we get right into the games, let's quickly acknowledge the chat who has shown up here early, as always, with the great support. And we'll start off with the one and only Doggy Dog 420, who is in the chat, and he drops a super chat already, $1.99. Warning, now entering farting zone. That's a great warning to have every morning. So far, I can tell you that it doesn't feel like there's any farts in the cartridge this morning. So that gun is not loaded, but we'll see what happens later on in the show.
Yeah, famous last words before he's got to go change his shorts. Yeah.
Gotta go change those shorts. Might need to change them after last night's Halo because I was absolute dog crap. All right, so we got in the house right now HTK 360. What is going on? HTK playing with us last night. Cyber Gunter, another guy playing Halo with us last night. What's going on, Cyber Gunter? How are you, sir? We got Prophet of Metal in the house. What is happening, Prophet? Good to see you. Casket Repairs hanging out with us. We've got Your Wicked Hot is in here. We got RG Viper X. RG, sorry I couldn't get your invite or whatever last night, bro. But like I said, we had those lobbies were filling up quick last night from the big team battle. Maybe on the next one. I know Halo will be played again today for various sessions. We got Toolman55 is hanging out with us this morning. Jesse Darby here as well. And we got Gander Lad is in the house all the way from Newfoundland, Canada. What's going on, brother? How are you? And we got Dark Queen Gaming, Regulators here. And I think we've caught just about up with everybody right now. So that's good. Yes, it's early, but we're ready to get into the topics. It's going to be a fun time. Shout out first of all to Axel, Doggy Dog, and Princess Zelda on a wonderful little start off podcast, episode 0, as they call it, on Friday, an introduction to the crew. So kudos to them on, starting a new endeavor. And obviously, like I said, keeping it focused strictly on the games and not about the plastic hardware that plays them. Kudos to them. It was a good show. And go check it out. But Axel will give you all those links to that after this particular program is done. But let's get right down into it. And let's talk about Xbox at the Tokyo Game Show. I guess the thing is, did anything stand out? Did anything impress you guys? How impressed are you with Xbox's new refocus on Tokyo, the market in Asia in particular? We've seen massive growth there, as Phil Spencer has alluded. One of the fastest growing areas for Xbox in the world right now, which, compared to the competitors, we know is still a long way off, but growth is growth, and you got to take it where you can get it. And I think that's largely due to their focus on mobile, which I'm sure Axel can probably attest to on that, as well as Game Pass, being the best value in gaming. It's hard to ignore Game Pass for long, as we found out that even Newf Nukem came over to the dark side, as they say, after so long. It was just a offer that's too good to refuse. We see that again this month with some major additions to Game Pass, which we'll talk about in shortly. So what did you guys like about Tokyo Game Show? Obviously, when we see this show, it's more focused on games that are, traditionally bigger hits on that side of the pond, more anime focused stuff, Japanese RPGs kind of deal. A lot of quirky titles sometimes that most of us perhaps do or do not care for. But what did you think? RG says it was a little underwhelming, but like I said, good promise. Who wants to take the floor to start it off? Who really dove into this one? Go ahead, Axel.
I watched the whole show, even the parts I did not understand. Yeah. So a big problem for Xbox globally has been their lack of globalization. They were only available in 40 countries, and in any of those 40 countries, they weren't really localized. They didn't localize Xbox to the language or anything like that, which is, I believe, a big problem if you want to be a global competitor. Mm-hmm. So kudos to them finally getting localization in Japan, as they should have, 20 years ago. So good for them on doing that. The big killer was, Scarlett Nexus. That was the big game announced coming to Game Pass. The whole thing was mostly a Game Pass commercial, as these Xbox shows tend to be. But the localization, I think, is really what matters. Once you start making your product more for the local demographic, you're definitely going to grow. So kudos to them. And also, I just want to say that Sarah Bond has a camera presence that is almost unmatched out of the entire Xbox crew. I don't know where they hid her all these years. I don't know where she's been, where they got her, but they need to keep her in front of the camera because she's got a presence. And yes. The only downside to the show, the one and only downside, is you're trying to make an impact in Japan, and you didn't show a single new trailer to the Japanese market of Xbox games. So that's the one thing I have against the show, was that they didn't show a new trailer, even of something that's coming up, Hellblade, or I don't know, something else further down the line.
You mean
it didn't have to be a new
you mean something they probably have already seen the last 12 shows?
Yeah, I mean everything I saw as far as trailers were trailers that were already in existence.
Yeah, and then people would complain that they were showing the same old trailers at the show. I mean, you can't win for losing in that situation.
All I was saying is that they just should have shown a new trailer, even to something they already announced. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, other than that, they definitely went really, really hard on the whole mobile thing, that you don't need an Xbox and that it's available now. So that's awesome and good for them. I like the show overall, except for that one part. And it was, he had an interview, like the marquee of the show was the interview with the Tango Gameworks president. Again, I didn't understand any of it, and I didn't bother to find a translation of it. So I don't know, when your marquee is an interview, I don't know if that's the right way to go. But other than that, it was pretty good.
There you have it. Short and sweet and to the point. Anybody else have any thoughts about Tokyo Game Show? Any particular game stand out to you, or was it a bit lackluster? An afterthought, as they say. Scrubs.
Well, I didn't think it was lackluster because I didn't have my expectations up so high on what big games are going to bring. What I was glad and happy for is them bringing these JRPG games coming. Astria Ascending, Scarlett Nexus has that anime look, JRPG style that is very popular there. And it is popular in America and some factions of the gaming community. So just because it's Japanese RPGs does not mean that they're the only people that play them. So Xbox does have a committed group of gamers who love those games in America and in other areas around the world. So them saying that they're going to be dedicated to it and Phil showing that and getting these games, and these games are either just came out maybe 1 or 2 months ago, like with Scarlett Nexus, and then like you have Astria Ascending coming in. So it is showing that they're putting moves in and getting handshakes and working with these different companies. Like I said, I didn't expect much for it as far as what I like. What I was looking at is more from a business proposition of what Xbox is doing to show me that they are dedicated to keep Game Pass going and to keep the brand out there in the marketplace.
You say it's safe to say that one of the biggest games, certainly on this particular one, was probably the announcement of Stranger Paradise Final Fantasy Origin gets a March release date.
Yeah, it's anything Final Fantasy that is coming to Xbox is big because we know that a lot of these games are Xbox is getting slighted on. They're either being put on PlayStation as far as exclusive or it's a timed exclusive, but we just don't know when that time is going to end. So it's good to have an announcement of a date.
I see as well the Monster Hunter Rise gets official Ghosts and Goblins collaboration. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be even harder than normal.
And that Gungrave game looked pretty cool.
And what was that duck game? I can't think of
the
name.
Goose game, the Epic
Yeah,
Goose,
Goose, yeah.
something like that. The one where he's in a mech. It looks like a shoot 'em up.
Mm.
It reminds
Looks
me
like a lot of fun,
Metal
actually.
Slug.
Yeah. Looks like
He's
Yeah,
talking
reminds
about
me of
like
Metal Slug.
Mighty Goose or something.
Yes,
Yeah, Mighty Goose,
That
yeah.
side scroller one or whatever.
That
Yeah,
one's been
Mighty
out for a
Goose.
while. That one's been out for a while.
but not on Xbox. Game
Yeah,
Pass.
yeah, it is. I've,
On Xbox
played
Game
it.
Pass?
It's
I
been on
played it
Game
like
Pass?
2
No,
weeks ago.
it hasn't been on Game Pass too long. It hasn't been getting on Game Pass.
All right, now I'm gonna look this up. Hold on.
I played it like a good 2 weeks ago on Game
Oh,
Pass.
then I missed it then.
You guys are slacking.
Okay.
I've been on Halo. Sorry.
I haven't been slacking this week. I don't know. I feel like I've just been really out of touch this past week. Jesus.
No, that game
Yeah,
is
no,
actually
she's
really
right. It
good.
launched 4 months ago. She's absolutely
Mhm.
right.
You guys are super slacking.
Yep.
No, but it hasn't been on Game Pass for 4 months. It's maybe been on Game Pass a week or two. Period.
That's right.
All right. Anyways.
Well, no, there's no anyway. That's the truth. I mean, there's,
All right. Well, Paul, since you jumped in, anything
Yeah.
kind of gets your
I-
attention on this?
I've
one?
got so many other things going on. I didn't really have time to focus on the game show at all.
That's good.
'Cause this month for October is busy for me being, yes, I'm going to say it now, Disability Awareness Month. So I've got a bunch of things going on,
Mhm.
inside and outside of the big Xbox thing. So, but I will say that my thing has been Microsoft is not only are they in a global growth kind of pattern, they're doing it aggressively. They are not holding back.
Yes.
It's like, here we come, we're here to stay, and not only that, here we got something for you, and yeah, they're not just kind of holding steady, trying to stay on top. They're trying to build their lead globally, but their influence. So I think it's a great thing. I think the show was focused toward Tokyo. They didn't really care if we were watching or not.
Right.
It's like, you want to watch, that's cool, but it's all going to be in Japanese.
Right. Well, from the sounds of the panel so far, it sounds like the majority of us didn't really care about watching. So definitely wasn't up there on the hype meter like when Xbox does E3s or the Gamescom even. So because I haven't seen a whole lot of hype for it, and I guess rightfully so. I mean, maybe it's just that's our taste, and we kind of know what to expect out of these things. I never really do get overly hyped for Tokyo Game shows. I just find that most of the games for me, they're more of those kind of games that I always end up picking up on the down low, as opposed to games that I'm like, yeah, I really need this one. So maybe that's a me problem,
Right.
but yeah.
Well, it's just basically the audience and the panel that we have. I mean, to me, the Tokyo Game Show, if you said who would get the most out of and enjoy it, I would think it might be Terri with some of the indies, or Eternal Shaddai with some of the JRPGs. That's just not my bag on the JRPGs. So, I mean, I will watch somebody play it on Twitch for an hour or so, but those are never games that I'm saying that's what I got to get my hands on. So, like I said, go ahead.
If Shaddai was here, we'd have to add another hour to the show just to talk about the JRPGs.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah, the one he skips out, eh?
Yeah, that's right up his alley. So it's just who we have on the panel today. It's just not now if Tokyo Game Show was all about first-person shooters or something, I'd be going crazy about, oh man, this game is this and this and this and this.
Mhm.
It's just what it is. So, what I think is, as long as Xbox has a diversity of games, and this is what I like more about it. I don't think Tokyo Game Show, if you're really trying to look toward and trying to gain more foothold in Tokyo, I don't think it should be in English. Because if you're in English, you're catering to an American crowd or an English speaking crowd around the world. You're directing straight at Tokyo. Yes, put it in Japanese, and then have someone translate it. Or if you want to run simultaneous where nobody's actually talking and somebody's voicing, dubbing what's going on another channel. But if you're trying to get a foothold, you need to be focused to that country.
No, it's interesting because RG Viper X in the chat, like he's saying, if you play Mario, you're playing a Japanese game. If you're playing Smash, you're playing Japanese. And I get that. We all get that. But that's the funny thing. Because if you look at Nintendo's titles, which are notoriously Japanese, they seem to, I mean, obviously they're popular worldwide, but they seem to be more catered to, like, even the Western audience. Like, they don't overcomplicate their games. They make them so, like I said, their art styles and a lot of their content is sort of universally enjoyed, as opposed to, stuff that comes out of Square Enix and other companies over there who are very, very heavy with like the anime side of things or the lore and stuff like that, where, again, if you're not really into that styling, some of those games can get lost very quickly. You see some games come over here that are notoriously, that get a lot of notoriety or get some big publicity or have great sales. Case in point, stuff like Nier Automata and a few other titles like that, which are Japanese action are oriented games. Even Bayonetta from Sega, is Japanese, but it doesn't feel like all the other Japanese games. You know what I mean? It feels more Americanized, so to speak, in the way it's delivered, outside of perhaps its art styling. Is that fair to say? Because then you get stuff like Sega's got a new one that was shown off here called Sin Chronicle. So there's like a few of these games you come out and you're just kind of like right off the bat, you kind of look at it and you go, I know it's going to be popular with some people, but definitely not with me. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's also the fact that those games don't feel like it because those aren't Japanese RPGs. Bayonetta's not an RPG.
Nope.
Mario is definitely not an RPG.
Mario's Italian. I don't care what anybody says. He's not Japanese.
So
has Nintendo made a Japanese RPG lately?
They're not the right genre. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I guess essentially a lot of it is genres, and maybe that's a genre that, again, just doesn't resonate with enough people. Certainly on this side of the pond, they're important. I don't think anybody can dissuade their importance to any ecosystem, let alone Xboxes. In order to capture your audience globally, you got to have globally appealing games that just don't appeal to us over here, who obviously live in a very shooter-centric market. I mean, fucking everything that seems to come out over here got some kind of gun or first-person aspect. Very, very common over here,
One Western RPG playstyle is just different than Japanese.
It is.
Yeah, JRPG, Western RPG, and CRPG are very different from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Mass Effect any day. Thank you.
I mean, and I think it's just a matter of what you grew up with and what you're with.
Yeah. Right now, the JRPG I'm trying to grind through is still Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's so long, so much to do. I don't know how they cram so much into an RPG, especially a single-player RPG. It's not even an MMO. It's crazy how many hours they are.
Yeah, like I've said with that one, it's a matter of I really want to play that game. I just can't get over the length of the video interludes before I actually have to touch my controller. It's like I want to be doing something that whole time. I don't want to sit there and watch it the whole time.
You know how your Xbox, after you don't play it, the little green side screen comes up? That came up on my Xbox as I was watching a cutscene in Yakuza Like a Dragon. That's when you know your cutscene might be a little too long.
When the controller times out twice, it's like, okay, this is a little much.
No, it reminds me of what was it? Metal Gear Solid 3 or 4? The ending was a 90-minute cutscene. I forget which one it was. The chat, somebody knows. I believe it might have been 4 or 3, but it was a 90-minute cutscene for the end of the game, and I'm like, Jesus, man, that's how much you had to cut out of this game that you had to put it into a cutscene.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is definitely Japanese.
Yeah.
But no, Yakuza
They
Like a
tell great
Dragon.
stories. They tell great stories, but when I want to play a game, I want to play a game. I don't want to,
My
Yeah.
favorite part of JRPGs is the unseriousness of it all. Like every
Right.
RPG I've played has comedic elements in it. Even Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VII had comedic elements. You know, when you had to cross dress at the time, that was really funny. Just funny things would happen
Mm-hmm.
in JRPGs, and Western RPGs like The Witcher had very few comedic moments. It was very serious a lot of the time. So yeah, JRPGs are definitely their own thing, and I love that they have comedic moments.
Mm-hmm. Awesome stuff. Any further thoughts? Remember, everybody losing Scrubners here. It looks like his video or his audio is kind of cutting in and out there. I'm not sure. Where the rest of us look like we're in HD, Scrub looks like he's on the old handheld flip phones.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. Oh my gosh.
Still with the Scrubs?
So your singular internet bill there, Scrubners.
That's how impressive the conversation is. He's been timed up with the green screen.
Yeah, you got mail. Yeah.
He just froze up solid. So we may have lost Scrubs here, guys, but hopefully he gets back. Yeah, he went to sleep. Almost looks like. All right, so maybe that's my cue that we'll move this topic along. Obviously, the panel. I think we all sort of paid some attention to it. None of us really. Obviously, it didn't set the world afire.
I didn't even watch it, honestly.
There you go. And it's better to be honest and just
I'm not into JRPGs, so I have no reason to watch it.
Nope. The only thing the woman needs to fake is probably orgasms. Oh, sorry, gaming after dark topic. All right. Move right. Let's catch up with the chat real quick because we got Masshole is here. Our community fan favorite is in the house. I think you know who I'm talking about. Cerebral Paul.
Oh yeah, Joe Dunmore. Welcome. Hey, and he wasn't here last week because he was hungover. I found out.
We got Cray Simmons Hollywood's in the house. Cray, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing good. And we have got to play a game soon, bro. It's been way too long. Like, we got to get on some gears or something, bro. We got Matt Burns in here. Me and Matt somehow went off the deep end and have never finished Dead Space 3 together. We started it together, and I don't know what's going on, but we never seem to get this game finished. Maybe this week, Matt. I'm off all Monday, so if you got some time, let me know. Like I said, RG Viper X is in the house. We got Jesse Darby's here with us. James, what's going on? Dark Queen is here as well. Doggy Dog still hanging out with us this morning. Draven Narrow, what is happening, sir? Good to see you. Prophet of Metal is here. We got a good crew up in here early this morning. About 29 hanging out with us, according to my counter on the corner. Share this out, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully, Scrubs gets back here in a few minutes. Not sure what's happening, but hopefully the conversation didn't bore him to the point that he had to leave. So, yes.
Hey,
all right,
quick,
let's
happy belated birthday to RG Viper X. It was his birthday yesterday.
Hey, there you go. Well, on behalf
Birthday,
of the
RG.
It's early, man. People drink your coffee.
That's right. Drink your coffee. Suck it down. Let's get into the next topic this morning, and that's related to Tokyo Game Show. This was one of the bigger announcements. Is that Scarlett Nexus from Namco Bandai, I do believe, is out now on Xbox on Game Pass, which is, I think it's pretty big news, but certainly one of the most well-received games. Did it come out last year or was it this year? Sometimes it's hard to tell anymore.
It was definitely this year.
But yeah, it came out, I think, early in the spring. So it's actually not that long ago that it came out.
About 6 months, yeah.
There you go. And now you can play it for your lowly monthly subscription fee on the Xbox. Has anybody had a chance to play this particular game? How do you feel about it? If so, I know it's one that I've had on my radar, but just never picked up. Anybody have a chance to dive into that one?
I tried it. I'm not good at it. It's not easy for me at all. So
Not
the
easy, a
combat.
tough game to play. A little too much action, fast moving elements, Paul.
Yeah. Which doesn't take away from the game itself. That just means I can't play it that well. So let me always get that straight. That I will always say that just because I can't play a game doesn't make it a bad game, and I'm never going to say, "Oh, this game is crap" based on my ability to actually do it.
That's a great way to review it. Absolutely. I was going to ask, did you ever try Recoil, Paul?
I have not had a chance.
Okay, I was going to ask with that one just because it kind of Recoil sort of has that auto aiming kind of thing. So where you just press the trigger, locks onto stuff, which makes it easier certainly for the shooting aspect. Of course, there is a lot of strafing and dodging and jumping, but and then platforming elements as well, which makes
they have
crazy.
some pretty hard platforming with a timer, which makes it.
Yeah, there's another new game that dropped on Game Pass this last week that is more platformer than I thought it was going to be. And so I'm going to put my cape away and probably not play that one very much.
Crazy stuff. Anybody else? Scrub, you look like a man who's been up to your neck with Scarlett Nexus. Have you tried that one?
No, I have not tried Scarlett Nexus at all.
Yeah.
Me and Scarlett Nexus is probably like me and my internet. It was just not connecting a second ago. So
yeah, we said you reminded us of the video quality you used to get back in those old flip phones when you did a video back in the day.
Oh God, yeah. I was hearing it on my end. Everybody started to sound like it was botting, but I was like, it must be me because nobody's saying anything. So I was hoping it was going to cut back in. So I had to restart my computer and everything. So Scarlett Nexus looks good though. For the quality that it is, the styling of it, I love the way it looks. Like I said, it's just not one of those games where I'm like, oh man, I got to get my hands on this. It's just one of those things. But if you want to try the game, I say try the game out. Psychonauts was not one on my list where it's just like, oh, this is right up my alley. But I love the game. It's one of my favorite games of the year right now. Mm-hmm. So what I tell everybody is, especially if you got Game Pass, pull it up and try it. I mean, nobody's forcing you to play the games, but if you're interested and want to see what it is, you can always try it. And if it's not working, just take it back off your system. The game's just not for you. It's way better than what it used to be, where you went to Toys R Us or KB Toys, or I'm dating myself, I know. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting there and you bought a Nintendo game based on the cover, or what your best friend said, and you could have wasted $40, $60, $80, and it was a game you hated. So I think this time for gamers is truly a great time to just, hey, try everything, see what you like, and you never know what kind of gamer you are until you try the game.
Amen to that. Anybody else has tried this game, and how big is it, for something like that to come to Game Pass as well? And does that show a great relationship between publishers like Namco Bandai, who are starting to really get on board with this?
Yeah, so I'm in the same boat as General Spartan in the chat here. I played Scarlett Nexus when the demo launched, and I downloaded it, but that's about as far as I got. But the combat is very much free-flowing. It's very fast. You got to manage a lot. I don't see this. Like, I know I saw a tweet, I think by Jez Corden, might have been him, that said he doesn't understand how anybody can play Scarlett Nexus on their phone because there's just so much with touch controls. And I stopped to think about it. I'm like, no, I've seen people play games like Fortnite with touch controls, and that game has a lot going on. So I'm sure these kids will be able to do it. But yeah, it's very much an intense fighting game. It focuses a lot on combat. And it's very fluid throughout. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to actually figuring out what's happening and what's going on in the story. And you can play two different stories on it. There's the male perspective and the female perspective, or the male protagonist, female protagonist perspective. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna have to choose which one I'm gonna play, because based on how much time I have to play games these days, I'm only gonna play it through once. So I gotta definitely pick whose story do I want to listen to.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one bad thing around this time. I like to call it the gaming holiday period. The games that aren't the bigger names or the biggest titles, they're going to start getting squeezed when all these bigger titles coming out. So if you hadn't had a chance to get on the game, I'd start doing it pretty soon because there's a lot of them coming out. They're going to start stacking on each other real quick.
No joke. I was telling my wife the other day that I was thinking about taking a week off from work just to play video games the whole time. Like, that's all I want to do is play some video
You better
games.
warn her in advance, eh? 'Cause
Good luck.
My wife, don't worry, she'll make plans for me for the whole week. Don't worry.
No. The honey-do list will always be there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a busy month, and it's only going to get worse from here on out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
What about you, Terry? You play Scarlett Nexus demo?
Nope.
Okay, so-
Here is the record short episode of Good Morning.
I love it.
Sorry, I just, like I said, I don't have interest in JRPGs. There's only a slight few that I've played and actually enjoyed. Usually it's the Tales of series is really good, and I liked Ni no Kuni, but outside of that, like, I couldn't care less about those games. They're pretty much all the same for the reskin. You play one, you play them all. It's the same stuff over and over. I get bored.
What was that one? I heard it was compared to that one that came out on the Switch last year. Astral. What was it? Astral
Chain.
Astral Chain, which I actually had for the Switch until I traded my Switch, and I actually really enjoyed that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The combat is somewhat similar, but you don't get the chain elements, obviously.
Right.
But I guess that's a good comparison for the combat. Just very free flowing. You're gonna access the menus as you're fighting. So yeah, it's one of those things, and you got to command your people too as you're fighting, which is frustrating.
Yeah, there's a lot to do while you're fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
And Scarlett Nexus.
Yeah. No, but Bandai Namco, man, shout out to Bandai Namco. They seem to be the one of the few Japanese publishers that has been very supportive of Xbox this whole time. They didn't wait for anything. They drop all their games into Xbox, and they bring a lot of their games to Game Pass. So I really appreciate Bandai Namco, especially because they have the Dragon Ball license.
Yeah, they got a new logo too. What do you guys think of that logo? I think it looks pretty lame, to be honest.
The little messenger.
Yeah.
Message logo.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Like something you'd see on a messenger page. It does not look very corporate, I guess you could say.
It's better than their old logo, man. That yellow, orange, I don't know, guitar pick, double triangle.
I like their old logo, actually.
Yeah, it definitely stands out more than this one.
Yes. Big Mike is reaching out to me. Tales of Arise is lit, Axel. Yes, I know I bought it. It is on the backlog, which is why I want to take a week off just to play all these RPGs I have. Could get rid of 3 or 4 RPGs in 1 week if I could do it uninterrupted.
Let me just say that since I've gotten Game Pass, it has helped my wallet immensely, but I will tell you one thing it has not helped with: my backlog. It's only added 1 million more games to play. I go through those lists and I'm like, oh, I want to play that. No time. I want to play that. No time. Like, I can't even play the games I bought months ago. It's like,
yeah. Especially when, with everything coming out, now it's going to get worse because everybody's getting all these multiplayer games and you want to join your friends so you don't have time for that other stuff.
Well, people were asking where's Community Game Night, right? Because I've been basically available now the last 2 Saturdays to do it, and I haven't done it because Halo was out, and as I can easily tell, most of the people that come to Community Game Night are over playing Halo, so it's just like, I'm not hosting it. I think Denitro or whatever went ahead.
I don't know I know the UK guys did their thing because I saw. I don't know how Denitro's worked out. Because if you looked at my friends list was Halo from top to bottom except for Terry. But
what?
No, I would have. So yesterday was my co-op day. So my friends got me into Elder Scrolls Online, and I started playing it and started playing it. I'm like, you know what? This reminds me a lot of Skyrim, and I have a lot of fond memories of Skyrim. So now I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online. It's an MMO. They're like, oh yeah, you'll be up to our level in no time. I look at their level. They're level 408. I'm just like, no, I don't know if I have that kind of time, guys. I might get to level 60 and call it good.
What do you mean by no time? Is in like 3 years?
Yeah, and then I go, well, how did you guys get this? Because they have like all these little stuff that are like, oh, money, and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely not going to be my game.
Like there's one game.
Any level-based shooters.
Yeah, I'm one game I'm still waiting to get my hands on too, but Halo's been screwing it up is the Artful Escape.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so there will be no Halo next weekend. So I plan on knocking that out because I heard it was like only 5 or 6 hours. So
Hmm.
I'm interested with the,
Yeah.
especially with all the music in it. So we'll see how it goes.
You know, sometime this week they're going to drop, hey, we're coming back next week for more Halo because we need to do some more testing.
If they do, I'm gonna be on it. So I won't deny that.
I gotta ask everybody a question on here, and I want to know for this from the panel, and I want to know from the chat as well. Who stays basically when you get a game? How many of us get that one game and plow through the one game, and then you move on to the next one, or are you all over the place? I'm getting that feeling. The second answer is probably more legitimate.
Mhm.
Who's with me here? One, if you play one game until you basically conquer it, or two, if you're just kind of all over the board and have a hard time focusing in.
Let me say real quick, I am in the middle of that. I will start a game and play it for hours upon hours upon hours on end, and probably within about 3 days, then I decide, well, I'm going to go do this other thing for a bit, and then come back to this, and then I start into my pattern of playing 26 games in a week. You know, So I'm really in the middle of that. Because I don't think I've ever done a game completely start to finish, at least in recent history, because there's always so much more to do. Or I get sidetracked because of community game night or somebody pinging me and saying, "Hey, let's go do this." So that breaks my concentration in the one game that I was working on. And once that concentration is kind of broke, then I don't tend to immediately go back to it.
Yes.
Agreed. No, the game has to be special for it to be a one for me. Games that are ones for me are like Gears of War, Halo, Ori. I played Ori in one sitting, from start to finish. So yeah, it has to be a very special game for me to play uninterrupted by anything else. Otherwise, I'm all over the place.
I have to stay focused. So for me, I play a lot more RPGs than anything, so I can't really jump around because then I won't remember what I was doing. I won't remember the controls because everyone's different, and then it gets even more frustrating when the styles are so different.
Amen.
So I have to stay focused and focus on one, maybe two at a time tops. Get through those, and then and then start another one. I can't keep jumping around.
Yeah, I jump around a lot, like you're saying, because I play a lot of multiplayer games, and like I said, you get one game. Psychonauts, I was like that. I might only have like 2 more hours to finish Psychonauts, but then I'll jump to here to here. Of course, life happens, family stuff. So, one game I loved, and I got back on it, and I didn't know where the hell I was. Was Hellblade? I was like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, I remember finishing this spot, but there's 5 different puzzles in this area, and I'm like, I have no clue what I need to do.
Yeah, I did the
And
same thing. I went back to Hellblade. I had no idea where I was. I was like, I got to start this all over again if I want to.
Right.
What's going
It's
on.
like, or I might have to go on YouTube just to, follow somebody just to see, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. So I hate that, but some of the games, if they have compatible controls on the game, I'm good. But I'm one of them people bad. If you go to my gamer score and stuff, you'll be like, oh yeah, you bought this game, you played half of it, you played 75% of it, you played 20% of it, you played 45% of it. And it's just one of those things, when you have a game you enjoy, but a lot of times it's so hard to get through it. So I'm a bad person, so I don't know what to say. But play the game that you enjoy, and don't let nobody else say, "Oh, you're not perfect" because you don't play that. I mean, Terri doesn't play Halo, and we still love her, so it's all good.
I mean, I think for me,
love
this
is a
year,
strong word here, nurse. I mean,
Resident Evil
Okay.
8 was one of those games for me. Like, I picked it up and didn't want to put it down, and got through that one relatively quickly compared to some other games that I've had.
Right.
Mass Effect's the one I really want to get into, and somehow I keep putting it back down, and that's one of those games too. Very quickly, when you pick it back up, you're just like, "What the hell was I doing again?" So maybe in the future, I know this is just wishful thinking, but maybe some of these longer games in particular that are very story focused and driven could, if they notice you haven't played the game for about a month, they should have this little recap that goes, "Last time on Mass Effect, and this is where you left."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Give you a kind of a recap as to where you were and go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
I'm-
journals are supposed to do that. You know, now a lot of games have journals to kind of remind you what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
Mhm.
or quest trackers, but it's not the same. No, I made the mistake of stopping to play Sekiro. And as we all know, Sekiro is a Souls game and it's hard. So it's a skill-based soul game. You know, you got to know where to find the openings, otherwise you get
Mhm.
killed. And unlike other Soul games where you had to keep your distance and roll, Sekiro was more of a parrying game.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
had to get in there. And I made the mistake of stopping that one, and I'm like, I suck. I literally restarted the whole game, and I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me to restart this whole game and go through all those bosses all over again.
Mhm.
So I put it down again. But yeah, Sekiro is one of those games that I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I can't believe I
Yeah.
put this down.
Nassau says I pull a mag and try to get all the achievements before moving on to another game. I've been watching some of what Mag's been doing. My God, man, Mag is he's insane, man. He's going through these games and he's like 1,000%ing them, and he's getting
Oh,
like
yeah.
the whole list of achievements. I'm like, dude, I can't even find the time to play him for 5 hours, let alone the extra time. Because like a lot of these games, to get the achievements the whole way through requires not only commitment to the main storylines and the games themselves. A lot of times it requires like extra hours of commitment just to complete a lot of these tasks to get those. If
Or
they're
second playthroughs.
or
Mhm.
second playthroughs, or like a lot of missions that take you off and completing like every side mission and finding every little thing in the game. And I'm like, man, that I don't know, unless you got these guides or something that's totally driving you through, and even then it still takes like you're talking almost a game within a game, which is kind of why the Assassin's Creed games now have lost me, because they're so massive. Like I just lose interest in them, because I just feel like, what's the point, really? What's the point? And I just want to play a story-based game from start to finish that keeps me engaged, not just like, well, you need to go to this part of the map. And it's essential to do those things because now they have the leveling system in Assassin's Creed, whereas in old Assassin's Creed, you didn't. It didn't matter what you did. You just played the game, you enjoyed the story, you kicked some ass along the way, and that was it. Now it's like, you got to go over here. And basically, if you don't go to those, if you go to these areas and you're not leveled up enough, which means you needed to do 40 side quests beforehand, there you go. You go into an area and you get your butt absolutely whopped. And it's like, that's why. And people say, what's wrong with you in the new Assassin? That's what exactly is what is wrong to me with Assassin's Creed. Now, some people love it, and I get it. But for the older fans,
real quick, to be fair,
right.
the old ones kind of did that, but they hit it well. They hit it in the. You had to upgrade your equipment to move on. There was no way around it. You had to.
Well, and it was more like, figure out this puzzle to solve the apple of Eden story, or get all these feathers on top of the buildings. And it was more of, if you get all the feathers, fine. If you don't, fine. Yeah. But I do understand where Newf was coming from.
Oh, I do too. Because it is annoying that sometimes you have to cross through those high level areas to get to where you need to be. It's like, oh, this is gonna suck,
And they're keeping you on the game, and that's good, because they want you to play and keep on the grind. But it can be exhausting, and that is a turn off to a lot of players. I don't have the time to sit there when they say, oh, it's a 30-hour playthrough. No, it's not. If it's a 20-30-hour playthrough to get everything you want to, you're not doing it in 30 hours unless you're just speeding through everything. So, a 10-hour game, let's say, if you're trying to find all the stuff, it's going to be, 15 or 20. So it's one of the things everybody started jumping on the fad of. It has to be open world, 20, 30, 40 hours. And I think the Witcher 3 is to blame for that. Once all the acclaim for that, everybody had to make the game 20, 30 hours open world. So we'll see how it goes. Trends jump back and forth, but to the people that can do it and the gamer score or platinum trophies, I can't do it. I don't have the time to do all of that. Kudos to who can.
I don't know how these reviewers play certain games. They're like, oh, this is a 10-hour campaign. And when I play the game, it turned into 23 hours. And I feel like I rushed it, right? And it's not like I died a lot either. I died like 3 times, and I'm like, how did I not get through that in 10 hours? I don't understand it.
What am I
I
doing
think
wrong,
they've
guys?
they probably got some upgrades on their power abilities, and they didn't have to grind as much to get to certain levels. Like you, just like in certain betas, what they'll do is they'll increase your XP when you're playing through it, so you'll level up quicker, just so you can try out all the stuff, or they'll give you all the weapons in the beginning, just so you can play the game and try everything out. I would not be surprised that some of these people who are reviewing these games, that's what they're getting.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I wish I could do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, yeah, long games.
Yeah, long
You know,
games, man. 20 hours is the magic number for me now. Things that start getting fat past 40 start to lose me real quick, unless they're just, like I said, right on the money kind of deal.
Would more focused games be better nowadays, especially as we're adults, right? As you get older, you kind of lose more and more and more time to gaming.
Yes.
So when I was younger, I remember playing the same game for hundreds of hours. Now I play it through once and I'm done. Like that's it. I got to move on to the next one. Do you think part of the problem is we have too many games, or that we have too little time?
Some people say there's always too many games.
Yes.
I think it's a mix of both. I think it's both.
It's both.
It's both, because there really is too many games, because the indie scene alone has like really, I almost to say it, and Terry might disagree, but the indie scene alone has really flooded the market, because we're seeing how many indie games drop every week now, like probably a dozen at least, and that's probably putting it mildly. And a lot of these games deserve our attention. Some are real gems in there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them go totally unnoticed and don't even get played. How many games has Terry shown off on the indie spotlight, and we were just like, oh yeah, like I totally missed that game where we didn't play it? And that just goes to show you, like, that is part of our problem with the industry. Everybody's fighting for space, and unless you're the Call of Duties or the Halos or the games that got all the flagship advertising and the marketing, a lot of these games get lost, and then they get lost by us time-wise. As I said, everybody on this panel, for the most part, I think, you know, we have lives outside of just gaming. You know, for me, I'm lucky, and I say that loosely. I'm lucky if I can get home. By the time I get home and I get a bite to eat and I sit down, like, I'm lucky if I can get in 2-3 hours a day to play a game. So if your game is 40 hours and I'm focused on that one game alone, do the math. I'm not finishing that game in 2 or 3 days. You know, and I've literally got people on my timeline that get the game on the Friday and they got it done by the time Tuesday rolls around. And I'm just like, do you guys have any life outside of sitting in front of an Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo? I don't effing get it. And I'm just like, I want to know what kind of person you married, because honestly, as much as my wife is very lenient, if I sat there and played more than 5 or 6 hours, she'd be like, what the hell are you doing down there? Well, she doesn't sound like that, but pretty sure that's, you know, like, she starts to give you that stink eye, just kind of like, can you pay attention to me for at least 10 minutes? Kind of deal.
I'm starting to feel targeted. Just made up.
Hey, Paul. Well, you know, Paul's got things of his own on the go, right? Paul got half-naked men walking around behind him in the background.
my response, though, real quick, to what Axel was saying, at least for me personally, as a kid, I was only able to get like one new game maybe every 3+ months at a time, and so you only had time to play the one game because your parents weren't dishing those games out. You know, like now as we're adults, if we want to buy 5 games in one day, gosh dang, we're gonna do it. You know, but when you're a kid, you're stuck with what you got because you don't got no money. So it's like you're begging your parents to get you a game, and they're like, "No, you got, you know, we just bought you that game. Live with it." You know, and that was it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
well, because like I remember playing. I'm gonna bring this one up. I remember playing KOTOR. I remember sitting down, and that's all I played until I finished it. And I didn't feel like I spent a long time playing it. In truth, I beat it in about 2 weeks. You know, and I was already an adult, right? I could have bought any other game, but I played this one and I beat it in 2 weeks. And for me, I thought that was fast. I thought it was like, yeah, that's fast for me. Back then might have been the last time I played straight through a game. Again, it was because at the time we didn't have ready access to 478 games. You know,
Well,
my friend worked at
So there used to be stores called Hollywood Video, and they had a game subsidiary called
I worked at
Game
Hollywood
Crazy.
Video.
I think it was called Game Crazy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though we wouldn't buy the games, we would rent the games for free. So I had a really cool roommate, and that's what we did. We ended up renting KOTOR, and then I bought it, and I just remember plowing through it in about 2 weeks. And I thought I had spent a long time. Like, man, I should play something else, but I couldn't because KOTOR was life at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like, if I try to play through KOTOR, the first one, it'll take me months instead of weeks. Like, I just don't have the time anymore, and I miss not having the time.
It's a little of both. It's money and it's time too. Like you and Terry were saying, when we were younger, uh, you got a cartridge and you played it, and the next big game that Nintendo was putting out might not come out for another 4 or 5 months. So you had enough time to play it some more, play it some more. If you didn't get the new game that came out 3 or 4 months later, guess what? You kept playing the same 5, 10, 20 cartridges you had all the time. As long as you had your little notebook of your save passwords, you could just go back to wherever you wanted and keep playing. Now, today, you have the abundance of games, especially with the internet, especially with technology where folks can make their own games. It doesn't take a lot of people. You can have one person or just a little group. Yeah, you can have more games, but to me, when you have when you're having the people that are playing these multiple games so quickly and just knocking them out too. So when some people say they're hardcore gamers, they are hardcore as far as they don't
Yeah.
they don't have any extra entertainment that they
Right.
consume. They're not watching movies. They're not on Netflix all day. They might not be watching the football game or the hockey game on TV or catching up
Right.
on the. That's all they do for entertainment. Is they go to work, they come home. Their entertainment is video games. I come home. You got family. You got homework.
Mhm.
I might want to watch something on Netflix or Hulu or something. Then I might put in 2 hours in the game. Then the football game's coming on tomorrow. Then I might be playing drums the next night.
Yeah.
I have a gig to play. So it just depends on certain people's priorities. Is I work, I have my family, and video games. That's my hobby, and that's it. I don't do anything else. So it just depends on what type of gamer you are and your responsibilities.
And I get it. I mean, like I said, I'm going to sit here and say, yeah, is there a sense of jealousy? Absolutely. I'm totally jealous of anyone that can sit down and really plow through games like that. I am jealous because I haven't done that since I was a kid. You know, traditionally, when I had a Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo one, you only bought one game until the next one came out. There wasn't 20 a week. You probably were lucky to have 2 games a week back then, maybe even 1 a month. Like, games just did not fall out of the sky back in the 16-bit era. You know, and you played that game, and they were expensive. They cost just as much as the games we have today. So if your mom, who probably bought most of your games, because I know damn well she bought mine, I wasn't making money back in the Genesis era. I was a kid, so she was buying my games, and she'd say, "You better finish that one before I go buy another one." So you sat there, whether you loved the game or you kind of hated the game, you played the loving devil out of it. And I remember getting up. That's what I would do. I'd get up, and I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. Get up at like 6 or 7 o'clock. Turn on the Genesis, play that shit out of it all day, probably beat the game and start beating it again, and then basically wake up again or go to bed at like 3 a.m. in the morning, get back up again and play the same games. Like I said, life gets in the way, man. Commitments get in the way. But I see people online sometimes and they're like, well, I just bought this new game. I finished it in a couple of days. I work a regular job. They say they watch the Netflix shows. Oh yeah, I watched that whole series on Netflix, and I played a game, and I worked a 40-hour job a week. 40 hours, and that's making it easy. Some people have 60 or 80-hour jobs, and you're still telling me you managed to hang out and do anything with your kids, or go to the gym to work out, or go for a bike ride, or like you say, play your drums or play your guitar, or geez Louise, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you're just really, really good at managing time. Well, I need somebody to give me a template for that. Because I want to know how the hell you get that to work.
Yes, exactly.
And aren't getting the papers for divorce after a week.
One of the tricks that I have is I married a gamer, so if I want to put more than 4 hours into a game, he's not going to get offended that I'm not spending time with him, so that helps.
Good.
Because he's playing his
that you're
game.
not disturbing him while he plays his game.
Exactly.
Be like Terry, people. Marry a gamer. Jesus.
No.
Yeah.
He's having a good time. He's doing his D&D and his Destiny, and he's content. And then I'm doing my thing, and I'm content. And look at that. We're not fighting. It's perfect.
Perfect. Real quick, you brought up Netflix. Have you seen Squid Game?
That's awesome.
I've seen everybody talking about it. I've seen the memes and stuff. That I'm gonna have to start watching that. So that's gonna be my
don't
next
even have
on the list.
Netflix. I got rid of Netflix 2 years ago, man.
Yeah, I just started watching Ted Lasso, so I've been watching that a lot on Apple TV. So there's so much stuff I got going.
What's that?
Paul, is Squid Game good?
Oh, it's awesome, dude. It really is.
I might have to do that right after the show. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it for me. Don't give it away.
It's like they think Hunger Games, but worse. Okay.
Yes, that's what I want. I want some battle royale in real life.
Yeah. Axel, I'm gonna try to read this from the chat and just tell me if my Spanish interpretation is any good here.
Okay.
Buenos días a todos. Mía bien trabajo que hacen los domingos, chicos.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I could understand you if I was in Mexico. Yeah. So he's saying,
and Axel's like, "Who's that drunk guy?"
yeah, that's exactly what it's like talking to Mexicans at night, drunk, especially your uncles.
Yeah, go to the Houston Rodeo on Tejano Day. That's exactly what it's
Exactly. Hey, they're building new construction over here. Go and talk to anybody building this construction. These guys aren't building your houses sober, guys. Just so you know. Yeah. Buenos días a todos. Muy bien trabajo que hacen en los domingos, chicos. He said, "Good morning to everybody. You're all doing a fantastic job every Sunday, guys."
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I barely read that. Thank you. I had Spanish a while back, so I could read it a little bit. Thank you for the kind words.
All I can say to that is muchas gracias.
Yes. Muchas gracias. Te aprovechamos que miras que estás con nosotros cada domingo.
Yeah, what he said.
The way I heard Newf, it sounded like half Spanish, half Italian. Muchas gracias. Yeah, close enough.
Oh man, great.
Big Mike, I do like Battle Royale, but I just don't like dedicating my time to them. So I do like I played PUBG for a good year straight. I got into Apex Legends a lot. I tried getting into Call of Duty one, but I don't like Call of Duty that much. I think it's too twitchy for me. I'm just slow and old. And
I'm slow and old.
But I like Tetris 99. I liked Mario, the Mario one that also came out on the Switch, the Battle Royale Mario. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I do enjoy my Battle Royales, and I do like the Battle Royale movies.
And Newf, I will give you a hint into the games I play and why it works. I play a lot of multiplayer shooters because, of course, they might have their little story baked in the beginning, but I don't have to go through any story. If I got 2 hours, I can get 10, 12 matches in with my friends, and then I can go back to doing whatever jobs and chores and work or whatever I need to do. I can have my gaming fun, I can play with friends, and then I can keep rolling, and I get some sense of fulfillment and knocking stuff out. But if I get on a Red Dead Redemption 2 mission that just riding a horse and getting where I need to takes me 15 minutes, then doing the mission, getting back to where I need to do, and say that whole entire mission is done, and it takes me 45 minutes or so to do, and that's only like 1% of the game. Oh yeah, it's going to take me forever. So that's why I lean more toward those, because I enjoy it, but I can squeeze a lot in a small amount of time.
You got a super chat coming in from Princess Zelda. Who wants to read that one?
I think she wants you to read it. She said your name.
I got your name.
Okay. Muy bien, Newf.
Yeah, that was really good. That was actually pretty perfect.
Very good.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10. That's pretty good.
That would be like my
there are no tens.
my diving scores if I was trying to enter the Olympics. It's like, how much did you get for the belly flop? Oh man. Let's move it along. Actually, this is great though, because like I said, this topic kind of went off the rails, but in a good way. Liven up the show, got everybody engaged. I like it. All I can say, man, if you're lucky to, girls, guys out there, if you're lucky though to get in all the gaming that you want, all I can say is you're doing well. I always say to people, you know what? At the end of the day, too, if you're able to game, period, think of it as a blessing, even if it's 30 minutes. Because there's so many people out there in this world, and a lot of us forget to look at that don't have food, that don't have electricity, don't have clean running water. There's a lot of things that we take for granted, and we sometimes we sit here and we're just bitching about games, and it's just like those same people would probably be like, I wish I could own an Xbox, or I wish I could own a PlayStation or Nintendo. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, as long as you're playing, I think the thing now as well is it's not just you playing the games, but what I find is difficult, and this is one of the things that turns me off of games like Destiny or The Division, is people come out, you get super excited for the launch, everybody plays the living devil out of it, especially in the first week or so. Then a new game comes out, or games, and people move on, and the people that you started with are the people I normally like to finish with, and then you end up getting all over the board. And you got different people and you're different places, and everybody's a different level, and everything's not congruent. You know what I mean? And you know, if there's one good thing that's about playing games like say Call of Duty or the multiplayer, is it's not level indicative. Your level has really no indication of skill or what you've earned. It's just kind of like you play this game a lot and you're pretty good at it. Where some other games, when you do level up, like it's hard to play with your friends because the enemy caps, they have enemies and stuff that have cap rates, and you know, if you're not powered up enough, you're just a burden. You're just like a bag of trash that they got to haul through the game. So I don't like that feeling. You get left out real quick. But anyway, I think that's one of the things that turns me off of some of the modern games is how they do that. But yeah, but of course they do that because they want to keep people engaged and buying content and getting new weapon skins and all these types of things. Like I said, bragging rights at the end of the day is what it is, and I'm lucky if I can brag that I can play the damn game, let alone level it up. So I think I feel the same way. All righty. Yes, great discussion. And speaking of things to discuss and fantastic games, I think it's now time. Actually, it's overdue. Let's bring in Coolcat Terri with the Indie Spotlight. Terri, whenever you're ready.
We want Terri.
We want Terri. We got to do that every week now. Every time we're waiting for her to fire up the stuff here.
Start a Terri
All
chat.
right, you guys.
Here she goes.
All right, let me go ahead and show you guys the trailer real quick, and then I'll do my spiel.
Oh, look, it's called Silence.
Yes, a shush!
Noah? I want to go home.
I'll get you home. But you know what being here means, right?
Hope it's loud enough, you all.
It's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a world between life and death. I'll get you home, I promise.
But how?
There are only Seekers and Rebels left in this world.
What are these Seekers?
They're puppets of the False Queen. We want to put an end to the False Queen, and we finally have the shard to find her.
It's the last shard of the mirror. If it falls into the False Queen's hands, no one will ever find her. Her reign over silence will go unchallenged.
She sent the Seekers, killed our families, took away everything we held dear.
Anyone still out there is going to die. All of them.
What have you done? No!
Okay, so
It looked intense.
this game. All right, so that's Silence. Now, this game is actually a sequel. The story is actually quite old. It was on PC for a long time, and then they finally made a continuation, and they put it everywhere. And most people who actually played it never played the original, like myself. I never played the original one. That led to this story, but you don't have to play it because I was able to play this, thoroughly enjoy it, and understand what was going on. So, but it's a fantastic game. I will tell you in advance, it is adventure, but it's also point and click. So it's not going to be like your standard stuff. It is point and click, but as you can see from that story you saw is all in-game like cutscene stuff that actually happens with your storyline. So it's not just point and click and no cutscenes. You know what I mean? It's not. I like to say that there's good point and click games, and then there's really bad point and click games that are just boring. And this is definitely one of the good ones where you can actually you do your point and click, and then you get some really good storyline that develops. And it's very immersive. It's very, very well done. So I definitely recommend this one to everybody. It's fantastic. It's called Silence. You have 3 playable characters in the storyline, so you're not just stuck to one character like most games. So it switches between the different characters as you are playing through it, so you get different perspectives. So it's very well done. You gotta solve mysteries. You gotta do some puzzles because it's a point and click, so there's gonna be puzzles in there. But the biggest aspect is there is the storyline. You can get it on Xbox, PlayStation, PC. It's $20. If you are a PC gamer, they do have a free demo that you can try out before you buy it, so you can at least see if it is a game that you can get into or not. But I definitely highly recommend it. It's definitely one of my favorites, and Daedalic is one of my top indie developers. Between Daedalic and Frozen Byte are my number ones when it comes to indie. Daedalic does a great job with their storylines, and they do a lot of point and clicks. They're better known for Deponia, which is their most popular point and click series, which is also fantastic, but it's gets complicated very, very quickly, though. That's one of those more challenging ones. But so go ahead and check out Silence, and if you really, really got into it, then you look up the other game, the original game in the series, if you want to get more of the storyline.
Interesting.
Another gem brought to us, Silence from Coolcat Terri. Go check it out. I thought it looked really cool, and I can't. That one didn't even ring a bell with me. Like, I don't know if I send the trailer back in the day, but damn, every week, Terry, some really fine gems you're picking out there, and like games that not only look like they're fun and to play, but you pick out some games that have some really either well drawn art styles or they have very distinctive look. So I've noticed a bit of a trend with that, and that's really cool. The games that definitely kind of stand out on their own, so to speak. So I like that little girl. I like her little outfit and her big hood and everything. It looks really cool. So definitely have to go check that one out if I get a chance. Alrighty,
Terry, I have a question.
Okay.
Is Minesweeper a point and click?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a puzzle game and it's point and click.
Solitaire.
I'm just kidding.
Let's bring in Scrub Nurse. Scrub, anything on the docket this week? Anything coming out that we should be aware of? Anything that's coming to Game Pass, as we already saw, or perhaps is leaving Game Pass this week?
All right. Yeah, we talked about some of it. I'm going to get my screen shared up, and we'll just go over kind of what we have. I lost some of it.
We want Scrub Nurse.
So recently added. So we talked about Scarlett Nexus, Astria Ascending. Another one of the games that they were talking about at the Tokyo Game Show. Yeah. We got Marvel Avengers. So if you never got a chance to play the game and people go, oh man, I don't want to buy that game because of all of the problems and bugs and stuff. They have been going through fixes over time. So that is up and running. So if you want to check out Marvel Avengers, it's there. The Somnia Files. This is another game they were saying at Tokyo Game Show, and it's more of like a graphic novel, mystery detective type of game. So if you're into those, you have that there. Mighty Goose is what we just talked about. That just got added to Game Pass as well. So that one, as you can kind of see on the screen, you're just going through it and you're just side scroll to shoot them up. Reminds me of those old 80 games like Metal Slug and all those different types. It looks like a bunch of fun. So these are some of the ones that we have going. We know right here, Back for Flood is coming to Game Pass. So a lot of people are wanting and definitely thinking about getting this game. You can, nobody's saying don't buy the game. If you have it pre-ordered and you want to buy it and keep what you got going, go for it. But it's also in Game Pass as well. So you're already putting in the subscription. This is just something for you since you own the subscription. I'm also gonna pull up. Let's see. Come on, man. We're gonna go to Game Pass counter in a second. All right. GamePassCounter.com. As you can see on here. And this is going to be just dealing with all the games coming to Xbox. And the ones coming are kind of like what we just started. We talked about AI the Somnia Files, Astria Ascending, Origami 2 just came out a week or two ago. Lemnis Gate, Marvel Avengers, Mighty Goose, Myst, Psychonauts 2, all the Quake games, Sable that just came out, Scarlett Nexus that just got announced, Artful Escape that I was talking about earlier, that's in there, 12 Minutes. If you want to check out that game, I know we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. That is a great game, fun to get into. There's nothing right now that is leaving, but here we got coming up pretty soon as well. Like I said, talked about Back for Blood, Nobody Saves the World. I've heard about that coming. Here's one I wasn't even thinking about. Stardew Valley is coming sometime in this fall. Age of Empires is also coming up for those people who like those type of games. So there are more than that. I'm just going on what's coming in the next less than a month, because if you scroll down, there's a gang of games coming all to the end of the year. So that's what we have here for this week. Check it out on Xbox. Game Pass. Check it out. That's it.
We do this segment every week, so obviously just kind of keep you up to date on kind of what's pretty much happened within, the 7 to 14 day range kind of deal. Scrub, I know you mentioned last week after the show about your time. How are you doing for it right now?
I'm good right now. Yeah, it'll be
good for another little bit.
Yeah, I'm still good.
Okay. Speaking of that game,
Right,
Sable,
I want to mention. I was muted, but I want to mention real quick that 487 games available. You realize a month ago that was 477. So that number keeps going up. It's not leveling out yet.
That's crazy.
Yes. And I do want to mention too, when they're talking about 487 games, that is 487 games combined. So that is counting Game Pass, Cloud, PC. Because certain one of them are only cloud, some of them are only PC, and so you can find what you want. They also spread it out versus the EA Play games, the up-res FPS games, all those different things. So that's why I love Game Pass Counter, because it kind of splits it up. Shout out to Terry, who was first kind of telling me about that, because it is a godsend right now with all these games coming out.
Well, no matter how you dice it, that's a lot of damn games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't find something to play in there, man. You got some serious issues. That's all I can tell you.
For sure.
You must have the most pickiest selection.
But those are all old games, man. Those are all old games. Oh, sorry.
It's Game Pass fodder.
At the rate games are coming out.
I know. That's exactly it.
At the rate games are coming out, every game is an old game. There's a new game tomorrow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hear people call games old these days, and I'm like, dude, the game's 6 months ago. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Old is like last generation consider old, but like if it's still within the first like 2 to 3 years, I don't really consider that old. Like most games don't even get actual discounts until after like good first year. Unless they're digital discounts,
the single player games are usually the one. It's because the single player games tend to be dead after 3 months and already on bargain bin.
Right.
Unless you're Nintendo.
Unless you're Nintendo, yeah.
Then you can beat those dead horses all you want.
Breath of the Wild.
Nintendo's the only one where
$80.
they can bring out their game from the previous generation and sell it at full price a second time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
This is the weird thing with Nintendo. Remember, with at least their other consoles, and this is the only one that I've seen so far. Like Switch does not have a greatest hits lineup. Remember every other console Nintendo's had, even on I even think it was even on the Wii U. Did they not have the game? You know, after they're a couple years old, they make them like their greatest hits, and then they put them in a different looking case, and they sell
with the little red with the red stripe on it.
Because
Why?
Because all of their first party are greatest hits, so they don't have to list the greatest hits.
That I gotta agree with Terry. Considering each first party game in Nintendo sells at least 20 million.
Yeah,
well,
so they're all greatest hits.
Can you not put games that are like 5 years old into a selection and sell them for half price? They're still going to sell 1 billion copies. You made your money, Nintendo. Like, come on, cut your fans a bit of a break here, man. Like, holy moly, these guys.
As long as the fans are willing to do it, they have no reason to do that.
No.
Yep, I'm part of the problem, 100%.
Breath of the Wild they just should rename that game the Legend of Zelda Money in the Bank Edition. Jeez.
Money in the Bank. Tables, ladders, and chairs edition. Let's go.
Oh, crazy stuff. All right, let's move right along. Let's while we're rolling with the crew here right now. How about you, Paul? On the accessibility.
I haven't been able to reach out to the person I'm going to spotlight, so that's going to happen.
Paul, just at least tell us about you've been featured a lot in the past 6 months on various things, and most recently we're going to rename you to Celebrity Paul, as Xbox themselves has highlighted you. So tell us what you know when these people reach out to you, what's part of the conversation, and basically why do they lean on you as well now? Like, obviously you become sort of an ambassador to the community and a representative of again disabled gamers and the plights that you face. And as you've said, and you've issued this many times, that Xbox is really leading the way, which makes a perfect platform for you, because they are the ones stepping up more often than not right now to make gaming more accessible to that, again, those hundreds of thousands of gamers who can't play the same way that, you know, what we call an average traditional gamer would play. I don't want to call it normal, because none of us are normal.
I was going to say thank you for not using the word normal, even though I don't necessarily find that offensive, because I even find myself using that term. You know, some people do. You know, what do you mean I'm not normal? You know,
you are normal. It's a different definition of it, but we're all normal gamers. It's just you game differently.
Yes. Ooh, that's my tag. I like that.
Well, that's what you call it, gaming differently with Cerebral Paul, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. Yeah. You asked why they started to lean on me, and I don't think they're leaning on me. I've always been, because here's a little bit of history that I posted on my Twitter. When I was a kid, 9, 10, 11 years old, I was the marching arms poster child. Even as a child, I was very, I could communicate very well. I'm this is going to sound less than humble. I'm naturally funny. I'm a smart ass. And, you know, even at 10 years old, I was really quick. You know, I had reporters go, "And how are you?" And I go, "You tell me first." You know, and so, you know, because I do that well, I come across very well. And I can get that message out there. And I think that's one of the reasons as I'm stumbling over my words, because, you know, I wasn't ready for this. Because I can explain my point or say what I need to say in a relatively concise and clear manner. Right. But I appreciate it. Now, I think the other reason is they've seen the fact that I'm willing to put myself out there and not just stay quiet. That I'm one that's going, "Hey, you can't say that," or "Hey, I should be allowed to play too," or whatever. Or you know, and sometimes I do tag them so they notice, "Hey, you know, this needs to be corrected." You know, you know, I don't know if Phil ever sees any of the crap that I tag him in, but who knows? You know, but I'm also part of I'm also part of the one. I am part of the ambassador program, which is kind of where some of the interviews started. Because that was the first place where I was allowed or given the chance to have a voice where other parts of Microsoft went, hey, this guy, he kind of knows where it's at. But also the fact that, I just lost my train of thought. Crap. Oh, they, every once in a while, and some of you may have gotten them too, where you get a survey from Microsoft and it asks specifically, do you have any disabilities, blah, 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 whatever. And I said yes, and then later it came, do you want to be involved in the, in the little, get surveys, take part in studies and things like that? I said yes, and that's where a lot of that has come in. When Phil says, and in the video I was part of this last week, Phil started and said over 400,000 gamers identify as disabled.
Yeah.
When he says that, where they're getting those numbers is from those surveys.
Yeah.
Because I got harped on when I pointed that out for Psychonauts too. Well, what do you mean identify as? And they compared it to people identifying as whatever. That I said it's from that. It's from the surveys, and those numbers are probably still low because, Scrub, do you consider yourself disabled? In the reference to like those, but in the reference to those surveys, do you?
No, I don't. No.
But you are visually affected.
That's right.
So in a sense, categorically, you are a disabled person.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Those numbers, when he says 400,000, I can guarantee you that number is much higher.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of categories within that itself. Things like color blindness or dexterity issues, or like I said, or perhaps,
or just like people wearing glasses is so normalized that people don't realize or don't self-identify as disabled.
Yeah. If I took my contacts out right now, I would not see a damn thing. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't see a damn thing. I literally have to have something like this close to me to actually be able to read anything. Like, yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of I guess people in the community that are not dealing with this. That, and I've said this before, is that they take a lot of these things for granted. That we should also appreciate what they're doing, because at any given moment, anybody on this panel could be in a situation much like Paul. Because I've seen and I've played games with military veterans who no longer have hands or no longer have eyesight or their hearing or whatever it be the case, because they were injured in battle or combat, car accidents. Any given moment, I could be disabled tomorrow. I could fall off my bike and perhaps lose my fingers, and this is what I'm saying. So just because we don't look at it from Paul's perspective doesn't mean like we shouldn't appreciate it, because at any given moment, anybody's life could be altered. Some people, unfortunately, that's the way they're born. Life hit them hard right from the moment they come out of the womb. Life had an alternate plan and a very, but they fought through it. And they have to continue to fight through it and make their voices heard. And that's like, so we're very fortunate. Paul on the panel, because he can speak for these people to at least a certain degree. He can't speak for everybody, but
but I will say I do try to I try to not be myopic and just look at games from here's what I need, here's what I try to see. Well, the blind person, this helps them. The deaf person, this helps them. I try not to be so self-myopic and only thinking of what helps me play a game, because there are a lot of people out there that do that. Well, I need a game to do this so I can play. Okay, well, that's cool, but
and that's why it bothers me. Like I said, when you have to go through that fight that you did with the Psychonauts issue about adding modes to games that just help people get through them and enjoy the game to its fullest extent. I don't understand why other people have that issue. I really don't, because nobody's forcing them to play the game differently. That's the thing. Like, you can still play it. You can play it on the hardest difficulty. You can play it, whatever, and get your enjoyment out of it. But why ruin it for somebody else is what I never understood.
And the other side of that was, why should my gamer score have any effect on you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not fair that you got the gamer score and you use God mode. So what? In the end, does that affect you or anybody else?
Yeah.
It's like somebody that wins without cheating. Like somebody can say, well, you know what? I did it without cheating. I don't consider that a cheat, because you're not purposely trying to alter a game to win or to gloat.
Right.
That's a big difference. Whereas these guys on Call of Duty that use these whatever they have, these aim bots or the glitches within a game, that's totally different. And I don't understand how those people can sit there and gloat about winning and feel happy about themselves, knowing that they beat good gamers, but they did it illegitimately. That drives me nuts. But that's a conversation for another day and something that's not going away anytime soon. Call of Duty can ban this guy, but until these companies start nailing IP addresses and really come down hard on repeat offenders, this stuff is not going away. You know, it's going to plague every popular multiplayer game in existence, because that's these douche hats. That's, I don't know, they get off on it.
By the way, I was asked yesterday, I don't know if Nurse was in the party at the time. We started playing Halo, and somebody said, "Why does it look like you have a robot arm?" Did you know that that is part of the accessibility and disability awareness campaign for Xbox? That they added prosthetics so that disabled people could feel identified within the game. Those are actual prosthetics like you would get if you lost an arm or a leg in an accident or whatever. If you look at them, and it's really cool. It's one little touch that they did to include that part of that segment of the community. And there's a lot of accessibility options in there, including one that helps regular people. The idea to identify the enemies and the friends, you can change the glowy color so they stand out more, which a lot of us have been doing and pointing out to people who go, "I can't tell who's who."
When I first heard that, I changed that immediately and made it a whole lot easier. But I'm glad, kind of like what Paul was saying about the accessibility and disability stuff, because me myself, like when Paul goes, "Are you disabled?" I said mentally, I'm on the autistic spectrum. I have, which they say, mild or functioning Asperger's. So, I mean, not to say that the games are catering to me or something, but that is a reason why I like a certain game and I pinpoint, and it's that over and over and over and over again, because that works good for me on my brain. I'm one of the people that if you gave me pizza for 4 days in a row, I'll probably eat it. Somebody else will die, but that's just how my brain works. I'm very analytical, very straight. I talk to people. I don't pull any punches. I'm very forward, and to some people it comes off as you're a jerk. But it's just one of those things for me. Like to do a podcast and different stuff like that. The way I talk and the way I have to use my words and stuff. It is a drain, because that's not normally how I talk. Even when I get excited, you can tell sometimes that it's still almost like in a monotone feeling, because that's just the effect I have when I talk. So for everybody to be able to be in this gaming society and have communities within communities and everybody being included is a good thing, and I'm glad that Microsoft is pushing that to the forefront for everybody.
And let me just finish up by
go ahead, man.
October is Accessibility and Disability Awareness Month. On my personal stream or in my Twitter, I have links to Able Gamers should donate, and please donate. Able Gamers are great. They help develop the accessibility controller for Microsoft. They do a lot to make sure gamers like me, better, worse, and different, that disabled gamers in general, have a way to play games. That's what they do. That's why I want to focus on them this month. Also, I guess it's okay if I do it here because it's early. I'm going to be on the 28th of October on the Xbox Ambassadors Twitch channel. Please go over there and favorite that channel now or add that channel now. I'm going to be doing a stream for 2 hours with one of the guys from Microsoft and 3 other ambassadors, and we're going to talk about different disabilities in gaming. And the one from Microsoft is actually the head of the department that helps design all the stuff that they do within the games and the controllers and all that. That's his job. So we're gonna talk about at greater lengths different disabilities and how Microsoft is doing what they're doing. I want to use the term I've been using, leading the way, because that's what they're doing.
They are leading the way. But like I said, we got to shout out to people like and companies. They're not the only ones, but Naughty Dog obviously stands to get some recognition because I know with last year with The Last of Us Part 2, you know, one of the most obviously a game of the year, one of the highly most touted games of the generation. You know, they had a multitude of accessibility options within the game, things for hearing impaired, color blindness, a lot of different things. So many. It was a real milestone, a real, you know, standout title that featured that stuff. So it was fantastic, and hopefully more games do implement it.
You know what's funny is people don't think of it, but even though we're so used to having subtitles and whatever, that's an accessibility thing that's been in gaming for a long, long time. You know, that it's so natural that people don't even realize that or think about it as just an accessibility feature because it really is.
Yeah,
Also,
because it becomes so normal, right? Like they become so part of whether it's movies or games. They've been there almost their whole lives.
Yep. And I've been trying to stress that talking about accessibility when we're reviewing games or when we're discussing games should become normal. It shouldn't become a, oh, by the way, it also does this. To me, it should be right up there with this is the resolution, this is the frame per minute. Hey, here's some of the other features they have that help other people play. Because the more we normalize that, the more the game publishers are going to realize, hey, we need to make sure that's there. Because there's like that new game that came out from the Microsoft that isn't on Xbox that is actually a Microsoft game that has like no accessibility. Deathloop, thank you. And a lot of us are going, oh, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
But I've got to figure that a lot of that's because a lot of that started getting worked on before all of this started to come into play. Hopefully that will change. Yeah, hopefully that will change. But and hopefully from now on, anything coming out from under that umbrella will have more accessibility than no, you ain't getting nothing.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, Paul, we look forward to hearing more on these issues again through the month of October. Just let us know anytime. Drop it in the DM when you have something that, again, that you would really like to share with everyone. Again, we're just very fortunate to have you as part of this panel. As everybody on this panel, as I've said this before, I assembled this crew here for a very distinct reason. Not only are they amazing individuals, and I consider them friends, but again, because we can bring so many different viewpoints to a podcast that don't feel forced or contrived. And again, that's why it sounds fortunate that Shaddai wasn't here today, because when we did the Tokyo Game Show, we know that he is more entrenched in the Japanese RPG, the anime scene than either one of us are. And that's great because everybody has those strengths. As we know, like I said, Coolcat Terri, great with streaming, indie games. Axel said loves his cloud stuff. You know, there's a whole bunch of different things. And, you know, maybe that's one of the giveaways I think I'm going to look into doing. One of our first giveaways, I think, on this particular podcast, as soon as I get a chance. And maybe it'll come toward Christmas time. But I would really love to give away an adaptive controller for Xbox. I think that would be awesome. So I'm going to look into doing that, and probably a game or something like that coming toward Christmas. But that would be a really cool giveaway on this podcast. So we're going to try to look into making that happen here soon, guys. So just bear with me. So alrighty. Let's Scrub, you still doing good for time? We got one more topic before we basically get out of here. Well, Axel as well with cloud gaming, if he has any. We'll bring him in right after the topic. You're all good today, Axel? Okay. And
there's nothing new.
Okay, and we're still waiting on Terry and Paul if they have a community spotlight, which they did not mention in my DM, so I'm guessing they are still no-goes this week.
Yep.
I'm honestly, like, I've had one for the longest time. I'm seriously waiting for the person to show up in chat so I can surprise them. Because the individual doesn't stream or anything like that, so there's no like anything for me to show other than give them a shout out. So it's not really impactful unless they're there.
You know, that's like one of my he comes to a lot of my podcasts, but he's not on social media. It's really sad because you guys might know him, Spider-Man 356.
Oh yeah.
He's literally been almost ever since I started this gig. He's been in a lot of my chat. He doesn't make this one a lot of the times because I'm guessing he's either working or asleep. But he's and gaming after dark almost every week. And he goes way back to my early streams and like would sit there for hours watching me play games, watching me swear at games. Mass Effect Andromeda really comes to mind with some of those damn puzzles that they had in the game, how much I used to get frustrated. So Axel left a funny DM. That's good. But yeah, so there we go. The Avengers of podcasts. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, I suppose. There we go. Who identifies as who? It's which
Black Panther.
Which Black Panther? Which character would we be if we were the Avengers, guys? Pick your character. Who would you be? He's Black Panther. Terry, who are you going to be? What do you call it? Scarlett Johansson's character?
Oh, I can't stand her.
Black Widow.
Wow.
Are you going to be Storm from the X-Men?
No.
Who would you be?
I guess maybe Storm. I mean, when it comes to like Marvel characters, I mean, Storm is a great character, but I don't know, like I don't really resonate. Awesome. I don't really resonate with any of the characters.
Okay.
So.
All right, I know who I would be because this is who I always play. So on Marvel's, what was it? Ultimate Alliance and basically every, what was it? Captain America and the Avengers. Every game that has an Avengers theme, I'm always Captain America. Got to be Captain America. I love the shield. I love the way he just beats people up. I got to be Captain America.
Paul, who would you be if you were an Avenger?
Everybody always assumes, oh, you should be Xavier. No.
That's funny.
You can't put me in a box like that, people.
Oh,
God.
They're putting you in a chair like that. What are you talking about?
I know, basically, yeah. But I would probably, a little bit more of the Tony Stark Iron Man type of, creative, techie-driven type of,
Okay. I was going to pick the same one. For me, it'd probably be Iron Man, just as you got a cool suit. Obviously, I don't have the bankroll, but I am kind of a pompous douche when I want to be. So, pompous douche with superhero powers. Otherwise, it'd be mind dumbness fun. So I'd be the Hulk. So it could be torn between the two. Well, yeah, because that's kind of how I look a lot of times when I do finally get angry. I'm one of those guys who has that very long fuse, but my God, when it goes off and I do get pissed, I'm pretty sure I turn 3 shades of something or another. My wife has seen me when I get to that degree, and yeah, I'm not a good person to be around when I finally hit that loop, because I destroy shit. I literally, it's not cool. So
avoid Newf when he's trying to change a tire in the rain. Okay, got it.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Avoid those days when I shit my pants.
There you go.
Well, that's like, yeah.
You guys are thinking, well, that must be like every day with you, Newf.
No, that's the Incredible Poop, not the Incredible Hulk. Okay,
that's right. I turned brown. Why are you brown? I'm totally nuts. Oh man. All right. Yes, and I was talking about glasses in the chat because I guess Zelda has the same problem as me. We wear the big Coke bottle glasses. My eyes get kind of beady looking. I said I look like a fat Millhouse. So Axel wants to see that now. So maybe in next week's show I'll put on my glasses for a couple of minutes just to kind of show you how I look. Yeah, it's kind of weird looking, for sure. Yeah, nobody's ever seen me with glasses on a podcast yet. Heck, I'm not even on camera for this podcast. Trust me, I don't really enjoy the camera. I'd rather be behind the mic and leave my face out of it. But hey, this is the kind of podcast we do here, and that's it. I do it all for the love of you guys. Yes, but I'm sure there's probably some douchehead out there watching this every morning with our lovely screen captures, and probably got my face in some kind of weird, one of those weird pause moments where you look totally caught off guard and weird.
Oh yeah. Like when I was frozen.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like it's nurse asleep. No, he's just frozen. Okay.
Exactly. So there we go. All right, last topic, and we'll try to get out of here real quick. Again, and this one is not a big topic by any means, but let's just bring it up here real quick. Our last topic of the day, and this is about. Or do you need to jump out now, Scrub? Are you still good?
No, you talking, like I said, if you let me go first, I might say my bit, and then I'll run back out.
Yeah, you can. So the last one is reportedly Konami potentially bringing back Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Silent Hill, 3 massive franchise that anybody can recognize those games dating way back to the well, not the NES era, not for Silent Hill anyway, that would be PlayStation 1, but either
Right.
which way, these are iconic franchises that are synonymous with Konami, right up there in terms of some of the most revered games in the business, and there's a lot of fans out there clamoring for them to come back, but they've been missing in action for a very long. Well, Metal Gear not so much. It's only a few years ago, I guess, since we had Metal Gear 5, but still, it's been away for a long time now. At this point, people want it to come back. Certainly, Castlevania since the 360. I guess it hasn't been that long, but either which way, they've probably been over 5 years now. And Silent Hill has been notably absent. We've heard lots of rumblings. We heard about Kojima's potential involvement, perhaps even coming back. So, how do you feel about those franchises? Which one are you most excited for? And do you think there's any merit to these potential rumors, so to speak, or words or rumblings?
Well, I will say, as far as if there's any merit, I'm not sure. We have heard rumblings of maybe a Silent Hill game, and that would be the one that I would be most excited for. When we're talking about games that are really scary and not just all jump cuts, I mean, I think back to games like Silent Hill. I remember back when I was in college, I used to give tours of the school during the summertime. So we always got keys for the big university center, and me and my friends, we would go sometimes in the evening to the auditorium area, which sat maybe about 500, 700 people, and we would turn all the lights off, go upstairs to the projector, take the big projector screen out. It was set up like a movie theater, and we would play Silent Hill in the dark, and you would hear somebody open the door of the building in the middle. It's like 7, 8 o'clock in the night, and you would freak the hell out. And the game was so suspenseful, and they did it justice. I just hate that it's been so long that another one hasn't come out, especially with Resident Evil being able to have a almost a renaissance. I mean, the game never came away, but the resurgence it had, especially going from third person to first person, I think Silent Hill is primed for a comeback at this time. So if there was a game that I would really want, it would probably be a Silent Hill type. Konami has been a name that I know for the people who've been playing video game for the last 30 plus years. They know Konami. You've played many Konami games, and I always want properties and companies like that to stay around. We know what happened with Sega, and these companies, you don't want them to fall to the wayside. If there's a way to keep them going, keep profits going, keep them some way in the zeitgeist of video games, I would love it. So Silent Hill would be the game. And also, I wanted to say, because we were talking about it, how Newf was saying whether I was going. I'm not going anywhere, but just now with schedule and everything, guys, around 10 o'clock every Sunday, I have to go and handle business. So I will always be here to do the podcast. But at a certain point, if we get to the 2 hour, 3 hour, like sometimes we do, sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. That'll be a point where I'll have to step out. So, but I'll always be here. I love doing the podcast. I love the guys in the chat, guys, girls, whoever you want to call yourself. We have a good time, and even you, Axel. I enjoy hanging out with you too. But...
Wait, did you say Axel or asshole? I want you
to Here we go again.
Yeah. So
I ditto.
This is definitely a highlight of my week. So yeah, it's just right now when it's getting around 10 o'clock, I do have to jet. So that's all I got today. Thank you guys for coming out, and I'll let y'all have the rest of it.
All right. Well, let people know, Scrub, where they can find you.
Oh yeah. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm not gonna throw everything up, but at least you can catch me on Twitter, Scrub Nurse 3. And I know everybody sees me on there. My gamer tag on Xbox is Scrub Space Nurse. So add me. definitely playing a lot of Halo right now. So don't be afraid to say hello. And then on Wednesdays, you can catch me on Gaming Beyond the Box on with Wilmy Hood's channel and hanging out with the guys there. Like I always say, coffee on Sunday mornings, wine on Wednesdays nights. So I'll check you guys later. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, and because I've always had issues posting people's links and stuff on the screen, guys, I'm just going to tell you, the descriptions are in the chat of the YouTube. So if you want them, just find them there, or catch them on Twitter. Just easier this way instead of posting it up and it looks nasty on screen. So there you have it. All right.
All right, see you guys later.
Later, Scrubs. Thanks for being here, brother.
Yes,
We'll see you next week.
All right.
Yes, Scrub.
Bye.
All right. I was almost thinking the show was over, but no, we're still got a few more minutes left. Let's get the rest of our chat, our panel in here on this particular topic. Let's go with Coolcat Terri. Any of those particular franchises get you excited of a potential return? Do you think there's any substance with Kojima possibly being involved?
Don't know. Can you real quick, because I already forgot what ones we were all talking about. What was the games again?
With Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid, and Castlevania.
Shows how much she cares.
Okay,
I got your answer right there.
I'm not a Kojima fan at all. He hasn't made a single game that I cared about, honestly. So I don't care about Metal Gear. And there's rumor that he might be working on something right now with them or something. If he is, fine, that's cool. But out of those ones, and I don't like Silent Hill because I don't like scary games. I hate them. So Silent Hill doesn't do it for me. Castlevania, though, I do enjoy Castlevania. What was it? Curse of Darkness, I think it was one that I actually really enjoyed, even though I know it's not one of the more popular ones of the lengthy franchise, because there's like 50 Castlevania games.
Are you talking about the Game Boy version, the Game Boy Advance one?
No, the Xbox 360 and
the third-person ones. They were called Shadow or something.
Lords of Shadows and Mirror of Fate. Lords of Shadow and Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. Yeah.
Yeah, not those. No, Curse of Darkness.
I'm gonna have to look
Curse
it up.
of Darkness. Yeah, Curse of Darkness. It was another third-person one. I like that. I mean, I played the old school ones too back in the day, but you guys right now I hate side-scrolling platformers, so those are no longer something I'm gonna mess with. But yeah, no, like Curse of Darkness, I really enjoyed it. It was one that I streamed a couple years ago because it was recommended I give it a try, because I hadn't tried any of the third-person Castlevania games, so that was my introductory into the third persons, and I thought it was really well done. Even though, you know, Lords of Shadow I think is definitely probably the more popular when it comes to the third persons, and I haven't played those ones yet. So if they brought Castlevania back, I mean, I'd definitely be interested in it, because there's a lot that I haven't played for that series. So I'd be up for that. It's just, yeah, when it comes to like Metal Gear or Silent Hill or anything on that vein, I couldn't care less, honestly. It's not my thing.
Gotcha. I just find it funny, like how Konami is like we saw the resurgence of Capcom, and Konami seems like they're just, I don't know, hanging on by a thread. They got these great IPs and they just don't seem to put them to use properly, and I don't know why. Castlevania is enjoying a bit of a resurgence thanks to the Netflix animated series. Metal Gear is obviously revered, and people can't wait for it to come back. With those kind of games being real popular right now, it just kind of makes sense. You know, Silent Hill, obviously it's still considered to be one of the premier horror game franchises out there, and it was always, you know, when you thought about Capcom, you thought about Resident Evil, you think about Konami, you think about Silent Hill. Kojima's involvement, obviously he's a very creative individual, whether you like him or not, and he's got some pretty wild ideas, you know, that sort of thing. So again, I think they should bring him back. And it's funny, is it too, because like, you know, think of Nintendo, you think of Konami a lot too, because Nintendo and Konami were synonymous almost through the 80s and the 90s. You look at the Super Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's basically launch outside of their own games was largely built by Konami. Super Contra, Super Castlevania. You know, they had all those games back in the day. So it's just, you know, I hope they do come back. Konami.
That's right.
Did I not say it right?
Konami. Yeah, I say Konami.
Konami. Some people Konami. I don't know.
Konami.
Konami.
That's if you're from the South, then it's Konami.
Well, hey, fiddly diddly, I think it's Konami. Cletus, back in the closet.
All right. Okay. I'll go next. Yeah. I'm going to
Go
start
ahead,
this
man.
off. I know everybody's hoping that Kojima works on this, but I hope he's not. I think Kojima is washed. Just putting it out there. Kojima has not made an interesting game for me in well over a decade. That Death Stranding game, I'm not playing any game where I have to play the game for 20 minutes for it to finally become entertaining. No, sorry. Hard pass. So, yeah. No, but as far as the IPs are concerned, I would love to see Castlevania the most out of all of them. I love the Castlevania, the Metroidvanias. I loved the Lords of Shadow series on the Xbox. And I know that they got spiritual reboots with those indie games that came out not too long ago, but it's just not the same, guys. It's not the same. We need the Belmonts, and I did love the Netflix series. Castlevania was based on Castlevania 3, so I love the characters that they brought in. They were definitely in there, and I just I need another good Metroidvania. I really enjoyed the what was it on the Game Boy Advance versions of Metroidvanias they put out. Those were awesome. The ones with the cards where you could edit your character with the cards and change your powers on the fly. That was awesome. They're just so innovative with the way they did it, and they are some of the harder games you'll play, but they are so rewarding at the same time. So I am a huge Castlevania guy. I really want them to come back. Contra is another IP I would hope they would bring back, but I know it's not a part of the rumors. Just putting it out there. Bring back Contra. It would be so easy. First-person shooter, third-person shooter with aliens. Can't be that hard. Come on.
Axel, could you imagine a Contra game done in the way Army of Two was done?
That would be epic. Yeah, with aliens.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be even better. So yes, I would love that. And Metal Gear, I played the first few Metal Gears, and then I got confused as to what the hell is going on. Who's Snake? Who's Liquid Snake? This person's now, I don't know, Daddy Snake, but the Daddy Snake turns out to be a girl now, and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, what the hell is happening? I have no idea what's going on.
Daddy Snake?
Yeah, so you go Solid Snake and Liquid Snake, and I think there was another snake that was apparently the parent of Solid Snake. I don't remember the exact story because I got confused. And whoever kills that snake becomes the new snake. And eventually, I guess it became a girl or something like that. I have no idea what's going on. And that's the reason why I think Kojima's washed. It's just too convoluted. It's too weird. And when he was so good at telling stories, and then he just complicated them for no reason. No reason. Thanks, Newf.
Kojima did help with Lords of Shadow though. Like he was part of that, right. But like his name just wasn't branded all over it. But he did help with it.
Yeah, I do know that, but that was more than 10 years ago, as I said. So in the last 10 years, I don't think he's done anything really great. To me, he hasn't proven himself recently. I know some people love Death Stranding, but I'm just not one of those people. And this from a guy that knew about Kojima before people knew about Kojima. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, but Snatcher on the Sega CD was Kojima's storytelling, a cyberpunk story, and it was amazing. It was awesome. I loved it. But he's just lost his touch. To me, he's lost his way to tell the story in a nice, comprehensible way. That's the way I'm going to say it.
Okay, let's say he's lost his mind. Okay, let's just go.
Kojima is one of those developers who has a cult following. So it's like either you're die hard and you'll love him no matter what, or or you're like me, where I'm like, I look at his stuff and I'm like, I'll pass.
Yeah.
Now, and the Metal Gears were so good. They were so good. And then, like I said, somewhere in there, I'm just like, what? Who? Where? I couldn't tell you what's happening in a Metal Gear game anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that franchise just kind of went off in a weird direction. It looked amazing. I mean, graphically, but just like the way the game was done, just I don't know. like I said, I'll take Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell over him any day.
I'll stick to Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
Though somebody did tell me I should be Snake for Halloween. I get the eye patch. I've already got the longer hair and stuff. And,
That is cool. Yeah, you pull it off. I think
Yeah.
pretty well. You do kind of have that look going on there. That'd be kind of cool. Paul's going around now, this gun and his hand grenades and shit. Oh, that'd be fun. Paul, all you got to do is put the patch on and then put a big cardboard box down over the wheelchair. And...
Or I could figure I could be Snake Plissken too from Escape from New York.
Snake Biscuit.
All I need for that is the eye patch and a black tank top.
Yep.
There you go.
Didn't Slade ride a motorcycle at some point?
Slade?
Didn't Slade have a motorcycle at some point?
Seems like it did.
Did you always disguise your chair as his bike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, did you see what I saw? This was a Halloween thing the other day. It was actually, and this was really cool, that as a child in a wheelchair, and you know what his dad made for him? He turned the wheelchair into the mechanical crane from the Aliens movie, the yellow crane, and they actually had this big alien stuck on the back of his head, like getting like ready to grab him like this. It was freaking awesome. So that dad wins like Dad of the Year award. Whoever did that, that shit was awesome.
Some of those Halloween costumes are serious.
Oh,
didn't that kid get like best cosplay too? I think.
She's probably
yeah.
That,
I think
man.
so, because that was really amazing.
I even saw this one kid. He was done up like a car, and then he stood up, and it was just like what you call it from Transformers. It was crazy.
A Bumblebee.
No, he was done up like Optimus Prime.
Oh,
so actually, when he laid down on the street, he literally looked like a truck, and then he started to walk, and everything came apart. It was, oh my god! I was like, dude, that is insane. And some people have like crazy skills for that stuff, man. Cool stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just going as E Honda this year from Capcom Street Fighter.
Oh, for God, don't take your shirt off on stream, okay?
He's going to wear the diaper. Wear the diaper.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I get banned.
That is definitely a gaming after dark thing, okay?
Yeah.
Like way after dark. Okay.
Oh, my God.
In fact, turn the lights off and do it in the dark, whatever.
We'll dress Axel up as what do you call it? Blanca.
Just give me the taser.
Yeah. Terry, are you going to dress as Cammy? That tight green leotard? No, it's not your thing.
What about Shin-Li? She's a really popular character for cosplay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of my favorite characters is she does Chun-Li, and she's an Asian girl. Oh my god, she just looks so good.
Well, what about the cosplay, Newf? What about the cosplay?
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh, hey,
what color was the door behind her? What color was the door, Newf?
Damn.
The only game I would be interested in, we're gonna throw it right back on topic.
Go up.
Would be Silent Hill. And actually, the funny thing is, I have never played any Silent Hill game because I've never owned a PlayStation long enough to play a Silent Hill game. But that would be the one I'd be most interested in, actually, because that's the only one that's really any kind of style of game that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I played some of the early Castlevanias, including way back on PC before the whole console thing.
Nice.
And they're interesting, but they just never drew me in. So there's my take on the whole thing. Short and sweet.
Me personally, of those three franchises, I'd be most down for a new Castlevania game.
Yes.
I still, that was just weird because I still have the ones right now on the 360 ones, the Lords of Shadow games, and I heard they're pretty damn good. And I've never played them; they've been in my backlog for years. Yeah, I know. And
choke yourself, Newf.
I know I'm gonna have to go get on that. I want to play them. They're still in my backlog. It's crazy, but yeah, that would like to see a return because like that franchise has a lot of potential, and with the way things are going in the games industry, with a lot of people bringing out these these games that have intense action. Devil May Cry, for example. That game, Capcom, ironically enough, right? Like Devil May Cry is having a bit of a resurgence, even if it never really did leave, but. We saw a good game out of them just a year or so ago, and then that sort of thing, and then that's sort of the action horror genre. Silent Hill, obviously, I think would be very popular if they bring it out. I don't think any of these games necessarily need Kojima's involvement. I mean, if he is, I've heard rumblings to say that, you know, obviously there was a bad relationship breakup between Konami and Kojima, that sort of thing. I'm not really sure what it was all about, but we all remember that bit of a feud a few years ago there. And they're saying that potentially Sony may have stepped in and sort of played a mediator here to kind of bring them back around. Perhaps it's just, again, they don't have him directly working. Perhaps he comes in as a liaison or a creative director to help with one of those franchises, maybe lend his advice or lend his maybe some of his thoughts on a game. We don't know. There is potential that he could be re-involved. I mean, it's like anything. Yeah, nobody says no to money. No matter how much they swear off of projects, when the price is right or the moment is right in their life, people come back to it. I always say with Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel swore he wasn't going to do Fast and Furious, and now we've had 9 Fast and Furious movies. You know, after he did Fast and Furious 1, his career was skyrocketing, right? And he was just like, no, I don't want to be typecast, and I don't want to play this character over and over. Then his career started to go into a hole. He couldn't buy a hit to save his soul. So guess what? He did Fast and Furious. I think it would have been number 3, before actually 4 if you look at it technically, because it was Fast and Furious. Then they did Tokyo Drift, or no, they did Fast and Furious 2, which did not feature him, and then they did Tokyo Drift, which essentially is the 3rd, and then the 4th, which came back and they just called it Fast and Furious, and of course that franchise took off from there, and his career sort of had a resurgence. So that's what I say, when the price is right, actors will come back to it. We saw, you know, Stallone come back to various old characters, although he's always loved Rocky. You know, we heard how Harrison Ford said he wouldn't do certain characters, but he would do others. And we see that Harrison Ford is once again even going to pick up the fedora for the Indiana Jones once again, which movie's supposed to come out next year, I think. You know, so that's what I'm saying. If the price is right and the right people are involved, people will come back sometimes to projects that they've had success with for whatever reason. Sometimes it's just that of nostalgia and to see if people still care about said projects. That's,
by the way, Hollywood, I will play any of those characters for half the price. I'm just saying.
We don't, but we really need Indiana Jones and the Mystery of the Pudding Cup. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness!
I thought you were going to say the Adventures of Bill Cosby and the Pudding Pops. Pudding Pops. I can't do a Bill Cosby impression, but that was funny.
No, Bill Cosby.
Those damn things were good. I don't know why they took those off the market. They were freaking awesome, Pudding Pops. I don't know if anybody remembers them.
No, I never had one.
No, it was just almost like frozen pudding on a stick, but they were good. Like the flavor was just so good. Oh my god! And they were done by Jell-O, obviously.
Yeah,
and they got rid of them. I don't know why. So
I actually don't enjoy Jell-O either. So
you don't like pudding?
I like pudding. I just don't like Jell-O.
Well, no, you said either as in also inclusive of. So it sounded like
no. Okay, that's right. I've never had pudding pops. And I also don't like Jell-O.
Pudding Pops.
So you've never had anything that's like a frozen chocolate fudgy thing on a stick.
We need a gamer tag. Somebody need Pudding Pop.
Pudding Pop.
Pudding Pop. That just sounds funny every time you say Pudding Pop. Hold on, Pudding. All right. Yes, Titan Drago's in the chat. What's going on? Tim Davids, how are you doing? Happy Cloud Gamer. How are you guys doing? The wise old gamer's been in the chat, and we definitely know he's here because he's been cracking us up with his.
Yeah, he's been talking smack about me the whole time. I don't think I haven't seen that.
He's taking jabs at me too, but hey, that's the way wise old gamer works. He takes shots at everybody. He don't discriminate. What the heck? See, why is it new like Bill Cosby's frozen pudding pops? Think you know a guy? Oh man. Yeah. So anyway, I hope those franchises come back, and I think in all likelihood we will see the return of one of those 3. I think Metal Gear might also be potential just because of the success of the last few games. So who knows? But look forward to it regardless. So. We'll see what happens in the time coming. It'd be nice to see Konami come back. The only thing Konami's really been popular for the last few years is PES Soccer, which I think they've renamed now to Is it Esports Soccer or E-Soccer?
I think so.
Yeah, and it's doing so awful on Steam.
Oh yeah, the
man,
graphics
it's so
and
bad.
stuff. Yeah,
it's like the lowest rated game ever on Steam.
Okay, Newf, don't answer his question.
No,
Save
no,
that for
I'm
Gaming
not.
After Dark.
Yeah, I will not answer that question. I
Good
will just
morning,
say this.
Fastback.
I do not have a brown trim on my mouth, so. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. Yeah, when Konami did Turtles games, they were at the height of that franchise, and now, I don't know. The Turtles license jumps around more than I don't know what. Like, who the hell owns the Turtles anymore? They got the new Turtle game coming out. Does anybody know when that comes out? By the way,
Nickelodeon owns all the Turtle license right now, and I think their license. If you want to make a game, all you need is buy the license, a licensee, or pay the licensing fee.
Coming out now that looks like Turtles in Time. When does that come out?
The Shredder's Revenge. Yeah, I don't know when that's supposed to be out soon, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Like it looks awesome.
Done, and I can't wait to get it. I think a lot of people feel the same way, and I think it's 4-player co-op, so which is bonus. Yeah, cool. Alrighty. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the show, unless anybody has anything further to add.
Ninja Turtles. What? Sorry.
You wanted to sing the theme song for us? Go ahead.
No, I don't want to get a copyright strike on the channel.
All right, everybody. Well, we are going to get out of here. We're just over the 2-hour mark. This is one of our shortest shows in a couple of weeks, but it was a good show all the same. Yes, it's good to see you here, Graphic. Good. Let's get out of here, and I will start.
Graphic God and Fastback both showed up right at the end. Welcome.
Graphic God was here a while ago, though.
Okay.
Fastback, I think, might have just showed up.
Fastback just showed up.
What's going on, Fastback? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you being here. Well, we'll start from the bottom and work our way back to the top. So we're going to start off with Coolcat Terri. Let everybody know what's happening and where they can find you.
All right, everybody, you can find me over on Twitter at Coolcat_Terri. I pretty much just have a lot of indie stuff over there, so you can always, catch out any new things that you might not normally find. And then I tend to spam my own, stuff like car shows or whatever. I'm really into cars, so I do throw that stuff on there too if you're into that kind of thing. I'm on Twitch at Coolcat Terri all week long, Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. Fridays, I'm doing Fright Nights from 7 p.m. until I've had enough of it, because like I said, I'm not into scary stuff. So, I get my fill. And then Saturdays, I usually go live around 6 p.m. or sometimes I'll go earlier. It just kind of depends. So you can always come and check that out. I play a wide variety of stuff. Currently, I've been working on New World, which is the new MMO from Amazon. And playing another game that I'm not going to mention right now because I'm actually going to do it for my Indie Spotlight next week. So you're going to have to tune in next week to see what it is. So it's a good variety. And racing games, of course. And the new Hot Wheels game just came out, so you can catch me playing that too. And then I have my own podcast called Just a Glimpse. Go ahead and search that on Google, Apple, Amazon, all that good fun stuff, Spotify. And you can check that out and hear my very unpopular opinions about popular movies and games. So check all that out.
Cerebral Paul.
Yo.
Let people know what's happening with you over the coming next week or so. Where can people catch up with you?
Everywhere. No. Aside from my streams on Twitch and YouTube, it's Cerebral Paul, both of them. You can find me. Best way to find me is on Twitter, Cerebral Paul 1, just to see where you can see where I'm at. My next appearance officially will be on Retro, whatever the hell that Retro Renegades. On Tuesday evening, on Wednesday, of course, midweek gaming with Stubbs, and on Thursday, 4GQ TV with what's his name? No, with those guys. Yeah, that him. Yeah, when he shows up. Lately, it's been everybody but him. No, he's just been having. He's been busy. He's been a busy little clown. So Carlo's been busy, but yeah, I'll be there on Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday, if they don't do another Halo weekend, of course, the stuff that me and Newf are supposed to do on Saturday, especially the community game night with Denitro now as well stepping in because me and Newf have been tied up and busy and doing other things. There you go. I think that about covers it. And like I said, please remember Accessibility Awareness Month. My show on the 28th on the Xbox Ambassadors channel, so you don't have to watch it any other time if you don't want to. But go over there and grab the channel off of Twitch so you have it. and make sure you catch that show. I want as many people there as can see it, because it's just not about accessibility gamers. It's about those, you may know somebody that may need some information. So it's not just about the gamer themselves, but those people around those gamers. So there you go.
Indeed. Axel, obviously, like I said, you've got a new endeavor. You just kicked it off on Friday. Perhaps you want to highlight that and other places that people can check out your channel and other content.
Yes. Thank you so much, Newf. And once again, chat, you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and for chatting with us while we do this for you guys. Yeah, you can find me on Twitch and on YouTube at Axel1324 Gaming. Also, every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, you can join me for the Iconic Video Games Podcast. I am joined by Doggy Dog and Princess Zelda, where we talk about games and only games. We don't care about platforms or consoles or anything like that. We only care about the games. And also, you can catch me on Xbox and at Twitter at Axel1324. Let's see, Fastback. Got a new Chevy Endeavor. Oh, that's great. I'll talk to you about it later, Fastback. Anyways, sorry, not to ignore you. Yeah, hey, real quick. Did anybody see this news? I'm just now reading it. BioShock 4 has been officially confirmed by 2K.
Nice.
So, yeah, no longer a rumor, and I'm so excited. Maybe we'll talk about it later.
Maybe.
Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much.
Topic for another week as we find out more. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans chomping at the bit for another BioShock. It's been a long time since, since the 360 era, since we had a BioShock game. So
yes,
outside of the remasters or whatever. But yeah. All right. And for me, guys, you know where to find me. Pretty much Newf Nukem everywhere, and Newf Nukem 76 on PlayStation. And obviously with this amazing panel members here on Good Morning Xbox, and on Tuesday nights with Titan Drago, who happens to be in the chat. Yes, Titan, we will play some Halo tonight. I'm down. And with the Middle Age Game Guys. So we make up Gaming After Dark Tuesday nights. That is at 10 Eastern, 8 Mountain Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there. As Axel said, we can't do this without you guys in the chat. You've been phenomenal again today. Like, our chat is keeping it real, so respectful, a lot of funny stuff in there too. Great input. So we appreciate it moving forward, as next week we hit our 20th episode. Unbelievable. Where does the time go? It feels like we just started out, and here we are 20 episodes in, and we're going to be looking for some feedback. I know there's lots of things we can do with this channel or the show. I would definitely want to get your feedback from the people, especially who show up here each and every week, the kind of things that you enjoy, perhaps things that you feel perhaps we could nix from the show or tighten up a little bit. I want this to be an entertaining couple of hours. I also want to hear from my panel members as well. I respect their input, and I take it all in stride, and there's no wrong, there's no right. It's just all, because we do this, none of us get paid to do it, so it's just all for good fun. But we want the show to be entertaining. We want to find reasons to keep you coming back, to keep you engaged, and that sort of stuff. So obviously shorten up outros and intros, right? That is one thing that works well. But yeah, we'll get your feedback here in the future, and I'll talk to these cats here and find out how they feel where we're at the 20 mark in, and go from there. So, but until next week, you guys take care, have fun, game on, keep it real. See you on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, wherever it might be. But this has been Good Morning Xbox, another phenomenal episode. Again, take care, everybody, and we'll see you all soon. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.